So before I jump into the bulk of the video here, I really want to kind of tell you the basic story of the Lake Missoula floods and what happened. And I can't really think of a better place to do that than this lake right here, because this is the site of the ice dam that formed Lake Missoula. So you know about the ice ages, something like starting 50,000 years ago, the world got very cold, and vast sheets of ice, thousands of feet tall, stretched all the way across the North Pole, down through Canada, and it had little sections that went down into the United States, including this area right here in northern Idaho. And when the ice sheets expanded, they crossed the Clark Fork River with a 2,000-foot wall of ice. And so what happens when a river runs into an obstacle that it can't flow through? It builds a lake. It just starts to pool up, and the water just finds all of the possible outlets until it can't flow anymore, and then it just starts to build. And this particular damming of the Clark Fork River created a vast glacial lake, half the size of Lake Michigan. It's just this vast, vast lake that stretched all the way from northern Idaho to western Montana and beyond. And it just held an incredible amount of water. And right here is the site of how the Lake Missoula floods happened. Because something really funny happens when you take water and ice right next to each other. When the water gets to 90% of the level of the ice will start to float. It'll move upward to sit on top of the water. And that's exactly what happened with the Lake Missoula floods. 15,000 years ago, the water level at this area got to 2,000 feet tall, and that was enough to cause the southern section of this glacial ice sheet to start to rise. And if it starts to rise and the rest of it doesn't give way, it starts to crack. And that's exactly what happened here 2,000 years ago, is that the ice dam that was blocking up this gigantic lake, Lake Missoula, broke. A sheet of ice snapped, and a torrent of water, the size of half of Lake Michigan, began to cascade down the mountainsides, through the Rockies, and out into the Pacific Ocean. And that's what you see right here. And so with that, let's jump into today's journey. In the mountains of northern Idaho, the woods hold secrets of an epic, ancient story. Fractured rocks line the trail from mountains that have seen much. Ice Age memories lost in time. Follow the trail, and the mountain's secrets are revealed. This was the place where 500 cubic miles of water fought with towering cliffs of ice. And at its peak, the water prevailed. Lake Missoula was free. Man, it is just so amazing being somewhere like this. You know, this is a historic site. I mean, it's a beautiful lake, and it would still be beautiful if you knew nothing about the Lake Missoula floods. But once you do, once you picture the 2,000-foot tall wall of ice that would be found here, and the giant, giant lake to the east. And just imagine that water seeping underneath and starting to rise the ice. Just all the deafening cracks and just thunderous roars of nature doing what nature does. It's just incredible. And thinking about how much of the Northwest was shaped by this event that first started 15,000 years ago. And as I mentioned before, it then happened repeatedly. Something like every 50 years, the water would be slightly lower because temperatures were rising and the ice sheets were melting. But every time that 90% threshold was reached, the ice cracked and the water cascaded through, carrying huge chunks of ice and boulders that weigh over 100 tons that were carried by the Lake Missoula floodwaters. So this is just, it exceeds human comprehension, and I really hope that between this information and the cinematic nature of it and just my general passion for nature and these amazing events, you can relive some of what happened. And if you live in the areas that were carved by Lake Missoula floods, you can just be thankful that the place you call home was created by this catastrophic event 15,000 years ago. It's just amazing.